Hi, everyone. In the driver's seat today, we're discussing the state of the EV market in North America. Joining us is Bryan Chance, Global Future of Mobility co-leader at EY. Bryan is responsible for leading strategic growth with key clients in several sectors: aerospace and defense, technology, and manufacturing, to name a few, as well as automotive. Bryan also leads the global connected car solution teams at EY, setting the vision and strategic direction for EY initiatives in the future of mobility. Working with leading OEMs and EV companies, Bryan and his teams develop solutions in four future of mobility areas: e-mobility, connected technology, digital customer experience, and urban mobility. With almost 30 years of industry, advisory, and transaction experience, Bryan has worked in markets across the globe, including Brazil, Argentina, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, South Korea, Japan, China, and North America. He joins us today from Dallas. Welcome, Bryan.
Thank you, Emma. It's great to be here with you. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you here. So, Bryan, let's start by talking about the current state of EV penetration in the US and key considerations and constraints. We've seen a bit of a plateau with sales here in the US. What do you think will or could be a tipping point to break through the current demand?
That's a great question. Before I jump off into that question, would like to tie a little bit together Ernst & Young, EY, and the automotive industry. We've begun to expand the breadth of our services and lean on our core understanding of the financial statements, the company's strategic objectives, et cetera, to build solutions in connected technology, strategy, e-mobility, and various areas. So it's great to be with you today. As to your question, it's the question that we're all scratching our head thinking about. How do we break through this current plateau? If you look at 2024, we closed with about 1.4 million units sold, or 8% of the market in the United States. Ironically, there was 80 to 85 models competing for that 8% of the market share. As we look towards the future, how do we break through that 8%? How do we move? Well, in the past, there has been things like mandates. That on a federal level with the new administration, that seems to be de-emphasized. State mandates are still in play. Energy price, as they rise and fall, that can drive consumers into alternative energy for transport, alternative energy for mobility. However, we see energy prices at the current state being steady. So if you think through what could be the tipping point, I really believe the tipping point is technology. The tech experiences provided by EVs through a concept called software-defined vehicles will really change the way users interface with mobility. Through that innovation, your telco device became the epicenter for all you do. Software-defined vehicles will enable the vehicle to be at a similar epicenter for you, both personally and entertainment-wise, and from a mobility perspective.
Yeah, that's a great way of looking at it, Bryan. We have seen, for example, telco completely transformed by the experience, by the user experience, by technology. You mentioned software-defined vehicles and this emerging concept with software-defined vehicles, SDVs. How realistic do you believe this is as an alternative? Is this near future, or are we still many years away? And if SDVs are going to be the tipping point in creating demand, what do you believe will make them like a must-have for consumers?
So I would say software-defined vehicles are here. Some of the newer EV manufacturers have fully integrated software-defined vehicles. And as we look towards the near future, traditional OEMs are beginning to develop the capabilities for software-defined vehicles. And for the listener, a software-defined vehicle really is an integrated operating system that controls the operations and the experience of the vehicle. In an ICE vehicle, that's disparate systems, numerous, unintegrated, et cetera. In an EV that is software-defined and enabled, it provides a unique integrated driving experience. So if you think through what does that present to the consumer, it presents several things. First, digital integration and personalization. The vehicle becomes a highly personalized digital platform, adapting to the individual's preferences for everything from seat position, climate control, entertainment center, driving modes, et cetera. Drivers can create multiple profiles so that as each individual gets in and out of the vehicle, the car automatically identifies the individual and creates the tailored or bespoke experience for each user. The integration with your smartphone, as I mentioned before, how the smartphones have changed how we operate, bringing that smartphone into the vehicle and integrating that into the vehicle also will become seamless, also enabling remote vehicle monitoring and control. The unique features of SDV beyond just the immediate experience in driving is the over-the-air updates and feature enhancements. So numerous trips to dealerships for maintenance, et cetera, can be replaced through over-the-air updates, feature enhancements, pushing feature enhancements to you digitally, fixing bugs, security patches, et cetera. And finally, most don't really acknowledge this or understand this as well, but through a software-defined vehicle, the driver experience becomes so much safer. It really allows for enhanced safety and driver assistance. So ADAS systems, advanced driver assist systems, can be continuously improved as we move towards autonomous transport and full self-drive. The data that we gather as we drive can provide safer and even at some point in time, autonomous driving experiences. So you really began to move from your vehicle moving from point A to point B being dependent on you as a driver to your vehicle being dependent upon millions of billions of miles learned and traveled by others. So it's a much safer experience. Finally, the connected capability of an SDV allows for the vehicle to connect to everything. We call it V to X, the vehicle to everything. Your vehicle can connect to the grid. It can connect to other vehicles. It can connect to city traffic patterns, to your home, to other IoT devices to completely give you a new user experience in mobility.
Yeah, I mean, I think, your point about sort of comparing and contrasting it against ICE vehicles and just, that example, I think is such a great example because we are living with a lot of that software already. But this idea that it could be seamless and it could anticipate and it can connect to everything, sort of holistically in an EV, it sure sounds like that would be the tipping point when we see that proof, that example. These user experiences and enhancements could be really significant for consumers and users. Your point about safety, exactly. Of course, these things always come down to the same question: how much? Price and affordability are key points in consumer buying behavior. So what do you predict the difference in price will be with SDVs versus ICE vehicles?
You're absolutely right. It all gets down to price and to customer sentiment and familiarity. But as it relates to price, we find ourselves in an interesting juxtaposition. So the newer EV entrants that have really that hold the majority of the market share today have begun their adventure with software-defined vehicles at top of mind. So they understand the capabilities, the manufacturing, the development of the software, the ability to do over-the-air updates to manufacture an SDV. However, their supply chains aren't efficient. They're not as scalable as a traditional OEM. So their cost or cost per unit is higher. On the flip side, if you look at traditional OEMs, their supply chains are extremely efficient. They understand how to mass manufacture ICE vehicles and hybrids, but they don't yet have the muscle memory or capability in development ops, software DevOps, and over-the-air updates, et cetera, to enact and enable these software-defined vehicles. So I say this as the newer entrants learn to manufacture at scale, their price will reduce. And as the existing traditional incumbents in the OEM space learn the ability to develop OTAs, over-the-air updates, to develop new integrated software stacks and push those to consumers, their price will decrease. So if you look at it that way, price will come down. It'll come down, let's say, in the next 2 to 5 years, and it should be much more attractive from a purchase price perspective. But then you need to think about maintenance cost. So if you think, as I said before, about the ability for a software-defined vehicle to push over-the-air updates to your vehicle, your maintenance costs as a consumer are substantially less. So your routine maintenance in a dealership are reduced and replaced by over-the-air updates. These over-the-air updates can alleviate or eradicate physical repairs. So this becomes a unique juxtaposition on operating cost as well from a consumer perspective. So a lot to come on the cost front. I do see cost price compression coming down in the next 2 to 5 years for the reasons that I outlined.
Well, it's so exciting to see EY at the forefront of this. And it's been so great having you with us today, Bryan. It's a tradition to close out each episode with our 0 to 60 challenge over the next 60 seconds. We'd like to give our viewers a chance to get to know you a little better. So, are you ready for the challenge?
I am ready for the challenge. Let's go.
Okay. Question number one. What was your first job?
I'm a passionate golfer. My first job was cleaning golf clubs in the bag room at the local country club. I had to clean clubs in order to play, so I did what it took, and I cleaned clubs for tips for 2 to 3 years.
Labor of love. Okay, now I think I know what the answer to question number two might be. If you weren't in the car business, what do you think you'd be doing?
If you thought I was going to say golf, I would be very hungry. So I'm not that good. No, I don't know what I would be doing. I think I might be hungry if I wasn't in the car business. This is the most exciting time in mobility with the changes that we're discussing from an electrification perspective, from a sustainability and a technology perspective. I can't imagine doing anything else. I love it.
Fantastic. Well, thanks again, Bryan. And we will see you all next time for In the Driver's Seat.
Thank you, Emma.
Thanks, Bryan.